In her book, The Hero Within, Carol S. Pearson discusses 6 heroic archetypes: the orphan, the wanderer, the warrior, the altruist, the innocent, and the magician. These archetypes act as inner potentialities, allies, or guides that are always available to us. All we have to do is become conscious of them. She writes, "We all begin in infancy and early childhood as innocents, trusting that we will be cared for and still in awe of the beauty of the world. Soon we fall from this state of grace as Adam and Eve fell from the Garden of Eden. Being orphans, we are forced to face disappointments and pain. From these experiences, we learn realism and how to tell the difference between guides and tempters. Growing older, we often experience our lives as confining and limiting, even oppressive. As wanderers, we take off to find ourselves and seek our fortunes. Then as warriors, we gain the courage to face our dragons and to develop the discipline and skill necessary to succeed in the world. As altruists, we discover that our existence is more meaningful if we commit to something greater than ourselves, for example, by giving back to others and to life itself. As returned innocents, we can find the treasure of true happiness, once again trusting in the process of being alive. Finally, as magicians, we become capable of transforming our lives and our kingdoms." In this video, we will look at the orphan archetype. Many cultures have myths recounting a golden age to which people yearn to return. In the Judeo-Christian tradition, it is the story of Adam and Eve's expulsion from the Garden of Eden. At first, Adam and Eve lived blissfully in the garden. God took care of their every need, but warned them not to eat any fruit from the tree of knowledge. But the serpent tempted Eve, and she ate an apple from that tree. When she offered it to Adam, he also ate, and as a result, they were ushered out of paradise. After that, Adam had to make a living by the sweat of his brow, and Eve had to suffer in childbirth. Once they were immortal, but now they knew they would die. The story of Adam and Eve clearly has archetypal elements. It is the experience of the fall. It is a developmental stage in growing up. For many, it comes in the form of disillusionment with their parents. For example, all little children idolize their parents. But what if a parent abuses him, either emotionally, physically, or even sexually? What if he is neglected and ignored? What if his parents are never home, or when they are home, they numb out with alcohol? For that child, the fall from childlike innocence is extreme and painful. For others whose parents are better balanced and healthier, the initial fall is milder. In a world that changes rapidly, it is a rare set of parents who actually can groom the next generation for what is to come. Growing up always includes the dawning realization that the world around us is far from perfect. We will have friends who disappoint us, lie to us, and talk behind our backs. We will see teachers and other authority figures abuse power. We also will realize that everyone is not treated equally in the world or with due respect, and that horrible tragedies happen to some individuals in their everyday life. They lose their great love, or their faith in love, or even their mind. There is a certain level of danger inherent in the hero's journey that awakens our souls. The ego desperately wants safety. This urge for security is basic to the innocent, but the soul wants to live. The truth is, we cannot lead a real life without risk. We do not develop depth without pain. The orphan is a disappointed idealist, and the higher the ideals about the world, the worse reality appears. Feeling like an orphan after the fall is an exceptionally difficult mode. The world appears dangerous, villains and pitfalls are everywhere. Like a damsel in distress, the orphan must cope with a hostile environment without appropriate strength or skills. The dominant emotion of this worldview is fear, and its basic motivation is survival. This stage is so painful that people often escape from it by using various opiates, drugs, alcohol, work, consumerism, mindless pleasure, etc. Or they may misuse relationships, work, or religion as a means to dull the pain and provide a false sense of safety. The archetype of the orphan is a tricky place to be. The orphan's task is to move out of innocence and denial and learn that suffering, pain, scarcity, and death are an inevitable part of life. The anger and pain this generates will be proportional to one's initial illusions. This fall leads to realism, because the job of the orphan is to develop realistic expectations about life. But when people give up their original childlike expectations, they are also likely to go to the other extreme and expect too little from life. After the fall comes the long and sometimes slow climb back to trust and hope. The orphan eventually must learn enough self-reliance to hold out against the temptations to stay in negative or dehumanizing conditions. At this stage, the orphan will need help from others. Once a person overcomes denial and faces the reality of his or her life, the next danger is despair. Warriors might be utterly frustrated that orphans do not take their lives into their own hands, but many of us are not ready to do so. What keeps people alive when they have little to live for is simply the hope of rescue. It is no use telling those who feel powerless to grow up and take responsibility for their lives if they do not believe they are capable of it. First, they must be provided with some hope that they will be cared for. Beyond the dualism that sees life as suffering or life as Eden is an awareness of pain and suffering as part of life's flow. Each time we become aware that we are suffering, it is a signal that we are ready to move on and make changes in our lives. Our task then is to explore the suffering, to be aware of it, to claim fully that we indeed are hurting. In this way, suffering can be a gift. It captures our attention and indicates that it is time for us to move on, to learn new behaviors, to try new challenges.